Assalamualaikum and good day to the dear student. In this video, I would like to present and explain how to produce a good lab report. This item is the uh, attribute that will be assessed in your lab report. The item that will be assessed in your lab report, the first one is objective, followed by methodology, presentation of data, analysis of data, discussions, and lastly the conclusions. Okay, how you want to produce the highest marks for the objective? In your objective, the objectives must be clearly written. For the methodology, if you want to get the 2 marks for the methodology, method descriptions exactly reflect the conducted experiment and follow scientific written format. And you should also label a drawing of experimental setup is presented. For the presentation of data, the data is relevant, number of data is appropriate and tabulated properly. Okay, all the calculation that involving in the data, okay, must be using the correct formula and dimensions. Okay, for the data analysis, okay, if your analysis involves with the graph drawn with the title, suitable scale, label exists, the best fit line drawn, and the gradient obtained. Errors are determined when needed. For discussions, results are justified scientifically and deviation from the theoretical value is discussed, and suggestions on the improvement of the experiment are made. Okay. Analyze various sources of errors as seen in the data and suggestions of the improvement of the experiment are made. Okay. If you want to get the 2 marks for conclusion, okay, the conclusion is stated according to the objective. Results are written with the uncertainties. Okay. This is the front page cover for your laboratory report. Okay. Your front page must include your course name and code. For example here, if this is a code for PHY110, so you should return the PHY110 laboratory report. Then, the part and classes. So, part 1, ES120, 1, and your class belonging. And you also should write the diploma science UIT and para. Okay. Name of the group members with their student ID. You must list all the group members with respect their student ID. The experiment title and the rubric table. Then lastly, okay, the information of the lecturer. So this lab report must be submitted to your and then you include your lecturer's name. Okay, the objective for this experiment, okay, from your laboratory manual, okay, they have a 3 objective for the experiment 1, okay, which is the first one to investigate the functional relationship between the height of fall and falling time. Second one, to determine the acceleration due to gravity g by studying the motion of freely falling body. And lastly, to investigate if a masses object will affect the value of g. The apparatus, you should list down all the apparatus, material, sample, reagent or chemical. Okay, please be detailed as possible. For example here, if you use the experiment use 3 beaker as your apparatus, you should write 3 units of 250 mm beaker. Okay, the dimension of beaker must also included. Same goes as the material. If you use the iron bar, you should write as 2 units of 50 gram iron bar with dimension 5 cm times 2 cm times 1 cm. The methodology of the experiment or the procedure of the experiment. Firstly, you should list down the steps of the experiment. The sentence that you should use is a past tense sentence. For example here, in your laboratory manual state that adjust the angle to negative 90 degrees. Therefore, you should right angle had been adjusted to negative 90 degrees. So the indications, okay, how you want to get the the good marks in your procedure, you also should provide a diagram. For example, alright, so this is the diagram of a cannon, and then okay, the cannon is located at the height of 15 meter. Okay, therefore, the blast will be released. Okay, the pumpkin will be released from the height until it reaches ground. And then you put the indication measurement of time taken. So you should provide, okay, this diagram, okay, to get the diagram with label. So you should label this is the uh, time measurement. Okay, this is the cannon. Okay, this is the pumpkin. Yeah, the pumpkin is released from a 50 meter until each reach the ground. Right? So you should provide the diagram to respect the label. So as I mentioned before, okay, the sentence of the procedure must be stated as a past tense sentence. For here, okay, click the link given. So the link given has been clicked. Then number two, click download or play button. So download or play button has been clicked. Okay. So and then number third, choose intro. So intro has been chosen, and so on uh, until the procedure of the experimental completed. Okay. How do you want to present the data? Okay, you have to present the data using a table or figure or caption or data sheet for the experiment. Okay, the data provided must include the uncertainties of apparatus with suitable significant figures and decimal placing. Alright, so as you know, how you want to obtain the sensitivity of the measurement. So the apparatus must show the sensitivity, the lowest sensitivities. Uh, the highest sensitivities means that the smallest scale that he can um, give to you. For example, if you measure the mass, okay, by using the balance, and then the balance shows the smallest case is a 0.001 gram. So the 0.001 gram is the smallest scale and is related to the uncertainties of the measurements. So then your measurement, if you measure 10 grams, so you should provide, okay, in the table is equal to 10.000 gram. Okay, same as the uncertainties. How the uncertainties given to you, he give you to a 3 decimal placing. So you should provide the measurement or return the measurement as 10.00 gram. Then the second data, if you measure about 15 grams, therefore you should also return it as a 15.000 gram. The same goes as the stopwatch. For example, the stopwatch, okay, the smallest scale of the stopwatch is a 0.1, right? So if you take the first reading is equal to 13.5, okay, same decimal placing as the stopwatch. Okay, don't forget to include the units at the title of the uh, row. Please note that the unit must be recorded. Okay, so if you calculated the secondary data, for example, the velocity is equal to displacement over time, right? If you calculated the secondary data, so this formula, okay, the uncertainties of the delta V, okay, must follow, okay, the rules of the multiplications as it been stated in the laboratory zero. So delta V over V equal to delta S over S plus delta T over T. Okay. This is the example, okay, how you want to provide a good tabulated data. Firstly, the data must be labeled. Okay, for example here table 1.1. So you label the table by a time taken t by meter ball to which point q point with respect of mass m of the ball. Okay, then you provide the uncertainties and the unit at the first row. Okay, here, and then the number of decimal placing of the mass must be consistent, okay, or uniform. So here the uncertainty provide a one decimal placing. So therefore your data for the mass must also provide for the one decimal placing. Same goes for the time taken here. Okay, we go back for your data, right? Before this, we have a measure, okay, the time taken of the pumpkin to falling down, right? Okay, so the time taken when the height is 15 meter, so it's equal to 1.75 seconds. So as I mentioned previously, okay, at the title here of the row H, okay, we must provide their uncertainties. So here, don't forget to change it, okay, H plus minus. The smallest scale that can be go at the PET simulations for the height is 1. So plus minus 1. And the unit is in meter. While the time, okay, please change E, right? So the time, okay, plus minus 0.02 second, okay, because it can detect, okay, the smallest by a 0.01 second. While the mass of pumpkin, okay, before this, okay, you should write it as a 5.0 plus minus 0.1 kilogram, right? So this is how you want to provide your data. Okay. Before we go to analysis of data will be explained in another part. So thank you for attention.